A major development now in the case of the Menendez brothers. 30 years after they killed their parents, a Los Angeles judge has resentenced Eric and Lyle, paving the way for possible parole. The new sentence, 50 years to life, makes the siblings immediately eligible for parole after spending decades in prison. A decision on their potential release will be made at a parole hearing in June. I want to bring in Tre Lovell now, entertainment and corporate attorney with the Lovell firm. Good morning. Glad you could be with us this morning. So this was pretty shocking to many, even the Menendez family. What led to the brothers now being eligible for parole after over 30 years in prison?
I think it was a pretty compelling case. The brothers had, post-conviction, they had excellent behavior, had excellent conduct, accomplished a number of things. One got a degree from UC Irvine. They started different groups, support groups, and they had a lot of endorsements. All of the family members who technically are victims wanted them out. Prison workers, prison guards said they should be released. There was a strong corroboration of a lot of people that were really on the bandwagon to get him out. So I think the judge just went along with that and is going to give him a shot through the parole.
A whole new generation of people are interested in this case. There have been documentaries and mockumentaries, TV shows. Do you think we'd be here right now if there wasn't so much public attention on these brothers, Tre?
No, I don't. I think the public attention, both with the Netflix documentary, the other documentaries, and the celebrities that have come out, and not only in supporting them, but have personal relations with them. Rosie O'Donnell came out and said her relationship with Lyle helped her and her daughter. And so there was a lot of public support, celebrities, and just a lot of highlighting on the situation. And I think that's what propagated the idea to be resentenced. Plus, California has a public policy for rehabilitation and second chances. And then the third part of the trifecta, I think, was the DA at the time, who was very into rehabilitation. He had resentenced over 300 convictions when he was the DA. And so it's kind of a perfect storm for the boys.
If they are granted parole, and boy, the world has changed a lot since 1989, what will life be like for the Menendez brothers, and what restrictions could they face after release?
That's a great question, because remember, when they went into prison, I don't think cell phones were out. Computers were just getting developed. There wasn't an internet, certainly not social media. So life has changed. And when you've been incarcerated and you're quote unquote a lifer for 35 years, the world is going to be different. And it may be difficult for them to adapt. In terms of what the parole restrictions would be, they probably won't be able to own a firearm. I think California does allow you to vote if you're coming out of a conviction. So, there'll be some restrictions. They'll be monitored to make sure there's no, reoffending. But it's going to be more just them, being able to, get back into society after so long in prison.
So what's your hunch? I'll ask you this final question. Do you think they're going to be released in June?
I do. What's interesting about this is, nobody really wants to be the one to let them out. Like, the judge could have resentenced them to manslaughter, which they would have immediately got released for time served. And Newsom could have, given them a pardon. But everybody kind of keeps pushing the can down the road. So they don't want to say no to the resentencing, but they don't want to be the one to let them out, which makes sense why now they have an opportunity before the parole board, which I think both Newsom and obviously the court, are going to let them make the decision. So yes, I think they're going to get out.
Tre Lovell is an entertainment and corporate attorney. Thanks so much. Glad you could be with us today.